Good morning, Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. It is so good to see all of your lovely faces. And I am, as you may remember, Pat Ferguson, and this morning I am your substitute for one day spiritual director. Vicki and Vernon are in Florida for Vicki's graduation yesterday. Yay! And while Vernon is behind the recording equipment as always, and Vicki's there beside him. It's a little different setup, so she's kind of has to be a little quiet because they're down there, I think, staying with friends. And so if there's a hiccup or two, just know that it's because we are set up differently because of this. We applaud the fact that Vicki has graduated and that they're taking a little time for themselves. She'll be back next week, and the next step on her journey is paneling to be licensed as a minister, and she'll let us know when that's going to happen, when they let her know that it's going to happen. But for now, even though she can't hear us because you're on mute, let's all give her a big round of applause to say congratulations and good job, Vicki. We're so proud. Okay, this is the moment where Vicki asks us to take a few seconds and mentally internalize our intention for being here today. Now, I'm going to be honest with you and say that my intention every week is exactly the same thing. It's to learn something, some idea, some process, some principle that I can use today, next week, or beyond. And since my brain is hardwired to that already, we're going to take the shortcut and make that our collective intention today as we move into learning about self-care with our good friend Scott Marcus. We all know. But before we go any further, let's open with a prayer. In familiar words from last year, I open this service with a prayer, and I open this prayer with the most meaningful words of gratitude I can express. Thank you. There's so much to be thankful for today. This loving and encouraging community, the principles we learn here that never fail us, Vicki's graduation and continuing journey towards ministry, the gifts and the life we live, and the many ways we can nurture it with self-care, even to the point of finding joy within our grief. Infinitely many blessings, too numerous to name, all coming from one divine source. So continuing this prayer, I recognize that there is only one God, known by many names, but still only one. One Father, Mother, Parent, Creator of the one life that is perfect, complete, and divine. And it is my life now, and the life of all people, all animals, all of nature, and all of us here, all out there, all everywhere, come together united here, now, and always as one family. So from a place of embracing self-care from all its many dimensions, I declare our hearts and mind open as we show up here this morning to learn the spiritual principles that form the foundation of our faith and to trust what we know is true of spirit within us today, tomorrow, eternally. And so it is. So we welcome you here today. If you're here for the first time, you're welcome. If you're here for the 5,000th time, you're still welcome. Doesn't matter what religion you grew up in, doesn't matter what religion you currently are, or if you've never had a faith experience, you're welcome here, and we want you to know that. This morning during my prayers, I lit the God candles behind me, and you'll see that there are 3 this morning. The tallest one in the back is the normal God candle that represents the light of God in everything and in all of us. The next one down in size is our community intention candle. I lit that because I thought all of our intentions, so many we have, some we hear of and others that we don't. But this candle represents the glow of spirit and the highest and best outcome for all those intentions. And the third one is an achievement candle. And we honor the achievement of so many within our organization, within our community, and especially today, Vicki, and the graduation that she had yesterday. So you're welcome here. We want you to know that. And we're happy to see you every single week. Now, to get the party started, our opening song is God and I Are One. There's no words or music, but the words are simple, and you'll pick them up and just sing right along.
That there is one life, that life my life now. I know that there is one strength, that strength my strength now. How do I know these things? God and I are one. God and I are one. Only good is present. God and I are one. This I know for sure. God and I are one. Only good is present. God and I are one. This I know for sure. I know that there is one peace. That peace is my peace now. I know that there is one joy. That joy is my joy now. How do I know these things? God and I are one. God and I are one. Only good is present. God and I are one. This I know for sure. God and I are one. Only good is present. God and I are one. This I know for sure. One life, one love. God and I are one. Only good is present. God and I are one. This I know for sure. God and I are one. Only good is present. God and I are one. This I know. This I know. This I know for sure.
Yay. All right. From here we go to our mission and vision statement. And say it with me, our mission statement. To teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind, and celebrating all paths to God. And our vision, a world that honors and respects all people. And every week we have a little application that helps us understand what we believe. And this week is from Jean Boleyn. When you recover or discover something that nourishes your soul and brings joy, care enough about yourself to make room for it in your life. Absolutely. And our sacred reading and meditation, practitioner of the week, Tammy Ellis. Welcome, Tammy.
Good morning. Thank you, Pat. Good morning, everybody. I love our monthly theme, which is embracing self-care. Such a beautiful concept, because in caring for myself, I can care for others better. And so this week, today, we're going to have the reading and the meditation from the monthly magazine, Science of Mind's Guide for Spiritual Living. So the reading is on page 83. And if you so choose, just as you listen to it, I'd like you just to breathe in and breathe out. As you breathe in oxygen, just allow that to come in, and then just breathing out that carbon dioxide. Breathing in peace, or whatever your intention is that Pat and Vicki have invited us to, and releasing out anything you want to release. This is by Reverend Dr. David Alexander, and it's called Self-Care, Tending to Each Other. The mind-body connection is one of the most critical aspects of our spiritual growth and development. It's easy to get lost in the heady ideas of science of mind and think that it is all about our thinking, but that would be an error. Our thoughts are the middleman, so to speak. You see, behind our thoughts is an invisible wholeness, the backdrop of perfection and well-being of God's presence that we seek to bring into our experience by attuning our thoughts to it. In front of our thoughts is their expression, where our bodies, both individually and collectively, represent the sacred ground of integration, where our thoughts become things. The body is the place where we make real the thoughts we hold. Caring for the body is a crucial element in revealing our wholeness. I think most people understand the importance of self-care on a basic level, but too often people rarely prioritize deep and genuine self-care. Our fast-paced, results-oriented, hustle-bustled world makes it impossible, so it would seem. Now, there's nothing wrong with personal drive, ambition, and the desire to achieve goals and succeed. You're meant to do all those things, but there's one thing we need to get clear. Hustle culture is a lie. What we're really meant for is wholeness, and that means integration of our whole self into balance that enhances our inner life and our outer expression, where self-care equals self-worth. Our self-worth and our net worth need not be in competition. And the quicker we realize this, the faster we discover it is in their mutual balance and synchronicity that we find true prosperity. Of course, the body does not just mean our own physical body and affairs, but the collective experience as well. Therefore, true self-care means tending to the needs of our world and each other. As we manifest the fullness of this truth, we can indeed call forth a response among all the nations that would melt in love every sword, and that the plowshare should again turn the earth and bring forth a harvest of love and good for all. So if you'd like to take just a nice deep breath and take in your takeaway from that for yourself. And as you breathe in, again, I invite you just to breathe in the oxygen that's just so freely around you. Breathe in self-care, what that means to you. And breathe out carbon dioxide out to the trees, because that nurtures the trees and the plants around us. And as you listen to this reading by Reverend James Peake, I encourage you to ask for clarity what self-care is for you. I embrace the power of self-care. I simply just take another breath to bring myself to the current present moment. And from this present place, I easily turn my attention to the place that resides deep in my being, ever present, my eternal home. In this divine awareness, I recognize and I acknowledge there is simply one life, one love, one mind, one God. This one is the ever-creating, intelligent, loving, whole power of life. It is the source of all. How good it is to be present to the truth. And there is only one life, one love, one universal body. I must be of this life. God as spirit moves my life and is always perfect in its unfoldment. There is no thought, place, or feeling that can change this truth. There is nothing that can separate me from God, the One. I know and claim right here, right now, that I am a creative, intelligent manifestation of the One. As I know God must be for itself, it must be for me. This care is born of the eternal, infinite love God is. In the embrace and acceptance of this care, I easily and effortlessly recognize the power of caring for my health. This health is my mental health, my emotional health, my physical health, as well as spiritual. In this energy of care and nurture, I follow the guidance of spirit as I naturally attract to me those circumstances that support the ongoing unfoldment and highest vision for my life. How good it is to be present to the truth. In this moment, I'm filled with gratitude for universal law and the presence of spirit in and as my life. I also give thanks for the divine nature of how life works. knowing the law is always working in perfect harmony with life itself. The law is always for me. There is nothing left to do but simply release this prayer, this meditation, into the infinite potential and loving care of Spirit. I now choose and am aware of what I can do for my physical health. I am now aware of and choose to practice what mental health is for me. I am now aware and choose to practice what emotional health is for me. And I now am aware of and choose to practice what spiritual well-being and health is for myself. And with this clarity and awareness, I say internally and out loud, and so it is.
And so it is. Special music this morning. Our old friend Karen Drucker with I Will Be Gentle with Myself.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like slowest part of me feels safe to go. Now I know I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself, and I hold myself like a newborn baby child. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself, and I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I rock myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
That was great. Everybody by now realizes that our CSL theme of the year is living out loud. In June, as you learned last week, is all about embracing self-care. And today, our good friend Scott Marcus is going to tell us about self-care in all its dimensions and how to embrace it. I would introduce him, but he's kind of part of our community now. He's a practitioner from Northern California, and we've had him here so many times. He's part of us, and he's a speaker. He has a wonderful website called This Time I Mean It, and he teaches for CSL. He's just an all-around good guy to know because of his connections. So I'm going to let him take it over from here and do what he does so well. Welcome again, Scott.
Thank you, Pat. This is feeling like my Eastern contingent of my family here, so I appreciate it. And I relate to George and the fleece because I am in Northern California, and we hit a high of, I think, 56 degrees yesterday. So I, too, am dressed in fleece. I'm glad I'm not in New York. I'm sorry for all those people who are getting all that stuff, but it's a little cold here. Vernon, if you would send out that link, I would appreciate that. It's not essential to this presentation, but Vernon's going to put out a link, and it will give you something that you can download. You can use it in this presentation or keep it for later. Consider it a little gift, but it also will give you some thoughts, hopefully. And Pat, you made a comment at the beginning, whether this is your 5th time here, which it is for me, or your 5,000th time here, welcome. And I did a little bit of math because that's just how I am. If this was your 5,000th time and you came 52 times a week, that would be 96 years and 2 months worth of attendance. Assuming you found the philosophy at 25, which is a little early for most of us, that would make you 121 years old. So if you've been here 5,000 times, you need to be doing the talk on self-care. And I see Vernon has put in the chat box something that says 101 self-care ideas.pdf. You can feel free to download it. You can distribute it as often as you would like, but there are 101 ideas on there for how to take better care of yourself. So with that in mind, let's start where we start, which is the words we tell ourselves determine what we will do with ourselves. There used to be a motivational speaker who was, shall we say, top of the game when he was around. He passed away several years ago. I was fortunate enough to meet him very briefly. His name was Zig Ziglar, and he was just a very powerful motivational speaker. And he used to tell a fun story about how words matter. He said, if you told somebody that they look like the first breath of spring, that's really the same as telling them that they look like the end of a long, hard winter. But one of those elicits a more positive response, and one of those not so much. So the words we use really do matter. So the way Okay, that's a message. Sharing the attachment in the weekly email. Whoever does that, by all means, go right ahead and do that. So the words we use really make a difference. And for me, the way that I work as a speaker, plus in my own life, and part of the reason I've been attracted to this philosophy is it encourages questioning. You know, I believe that if the universe, divine spirit, God, whatever you wish to call it, him, her, them, however, did not want us to question, we would not have the ability to question. So I'm one of these people who always has to be, I really should have been from Missouri because it's show me that it's true. So I really analyze these things and I thought, well, what are the words then that we use? What does self-care actually mean? How can I embrace self-care if I don't first define my terms? So I came up with, and this will be in an article that I believe Vicky's going to be sending also next week. So I did a little bit of, call it research, looking on the web to find out the way different people define self-care. And I found two that I wanted to share. One is from Parade magazine, because all wisdom comes from Parade magazine. I mean, that's just where it all originates. We can't help it. We just live in Parade magazine's world. There was a writer named Maureen Mackey, or Maureen McKay, and she described it as the thoughtful practice of protecting and improving our own physical and mental health within a balanced lifestyle, which includes the intentional acts of eating well, getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, maintaining a strong social network, tending to our spiritual needs, and looking after our financial security. Now, that kind of summed it all up. You could describe it as the gentle art of loving yourself, kind of Karen Drucker's song about I will be gentle with myself. In my practitioner training, one of the books we had to read, I don't know if the other practitioners had to read this too, is, I don't know if you can see it, my self-view is off, but it's a book called Mind Over Medicine. And it's by a woman named Lissa Rankin. She's a doctor. And in that book, or actually in a different book, no, sorry, it is that book, she said, studies have shown that positive psychological states, such as joy, happiness, and positive energy, as well as characteristics of life satisfaction, which would be hopefulness, optimism, and a sense of humor, result in lower mortality rates and extended longevity in both healthy and diseased populations. So again, the way we feel, whatever joy we can find, whatever optimism we can find, whatever hope we can find, actually goes to improve our health. I think we know that. I mean, that's kind of a core of our philosophy, that joy, love, and happiness help us experience the world better. How can we not be healthier if we don't feel better about ourselves? Now, I get it. There are things in life that take place that we can't control, or that at least appear to be out of our control. But for the most part, we're fortunate because we get to determine our own self-care. So, as is my style, what I did, and you're going to have assignments in this, I came up with 4 quadrants of who we are, and therefore what needs to be taken care of. And you can remember it quite easily as LEPS, L-E-P-S. It's a model I designed quite a while ago as I was thinking about how we work, because other people think about what's on TV. I think about how we work. And I came up with this model, and LEPS stands for logical, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And you can kind of picture when I do presentations in front of people, I have a circle and it's drawn into 4 quarters, and there's logical, emotional, physical, and spiritual on it. And I'm kind of glad that I don't have a visual for you, because people tend to look at it and they go, oh, well, see, now there are 4 different quadrants. They're not. They're all one. But these are the 4 different quadrants we have to take care of. And so what I've done is I've come up with some examples of which we can do in each. And I would like you to stop and think. Don't just listen to this. I mean, please listen to it. But my intention is that you will interpret it through what matters to you. And you will walk away with something that you can do that will help enhance your self-care. I don't care how well we take care of ourselves. There's always something else we can do, which is not to say you're not doing enough. because on the very bottom of this sheet that Vernon put up, we do what we can as well as we can. And I have a line here. It says, allow yourself to feel how you feel without judgment, knowing there's no wrong way to be you. So with that in mind, let me give you some additional ideas. So within the logical area, logical is what we think. It's what deals with our brain. So from a website called Ness Labs, NESSLABS.com, who tends to specialize, I guess, in these type of things, what can you do to have better logical health, better thinking health? And they said, think about thinking, which is kind of a meta sort of thing. You know, it's kind of like a one-hand clapping or something like that. But to actually think about thinking, we tend to put thought as a background operation. It's that constant stream of consciousness that's going by and we don't pay attention to it. And in reality, it is building our lives. You know, the law of mind, the law of the universe works whether we're paying attention to it or not. So all of those thoughts are just going by, and maybe periodically stop and think, what am I thinking about right now? And does that thought serve me? I know I'm not the only one who periodically, shall we say, traps my train of thought and goes, where did that come from? And once in a while, my train of thought kind of, you're ever talking to somebody and you just lose it, and it's like the train of thought jumped the tracks over the bridge and into the river. But for the most part, we can pay attention to what we're thinking about. It doesn't have to mean always. Be aware also of your cognitive biases, those things you assume and presume are true when they are not necessarily true. There's a bumper sticker that I love that says, don't believe everything you think. Simply because we think it, simply because it comes from within, doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate. So how do you improve your logical side, your thought process? Well, there are several things you can do. They're very simple. You can expand your horizons. Just try something new. You can work on your memory. I am involved in community theater. I just auditioned yesterday. And one of the parts that I auditioned for, the entire part would not have a word. It's all visual. It's all how you use your body, which to me is a fun sounding challenge. But then I thought, you know, part of why I like community theater is it forces me to memorize. So memorizing things causes your brain to stay younger. Doing art, doing creative endeavors causes your brain to stay younger. So what's something you could do that would just cause your thoughts to rise to the forefront? Something that would help your brain be more elastic and stay younger. So that's the logical part of it. The next part, that's the L. The next part is the emotional part. And that's what we feel and we perceive. So that's, shall we say, our heart. We do, if you stop and think, and I'll try this quick experiment for you. Think about or try and feel love. Try and feel compassion. Try and feel kindness. Where do you physically feel that in your body? You feel it right around the chest, right around the heart. We need to take care of our emotions, and we can feel them within us. The first thing we got to realize, however, is nobody makes us feel anything. You know, there's a line or there's an expression that's used in common language that you made me so mad, you made me so happy, nobody makes us feel anything. We choose to feel that way. Now, back to the first comment about our thoughts just being in the background, we might not be aware that we choose to feel that way, but it's our choice. So when I trap a thought and I go, oh, this is just miserable, this terrible cold weather, you know, it might be true. On the other hand, it's, wow, this is really nice. I am not sweltering. I have clear air right now. Which one do you tend to focus on? One of those elicits a more positive emotional state. And by positive, I don't mean a judgment. I mean one that fills us up and moves us forward. The other one shrinks us down and limits us. So pay attention to what you're feeling and wonder, where is it coming from? Let's see here. Refrain from judging. Judging adds all sorts of feelings into it, and don't judge yourself. one of the lines in a song that most affected me, and this was before I discovered this philosophy at all, was by Louise Hay. If you've been with Science of Mind or religious science for a while, I'm sure you've heard the song. But there's a line in the song, I love myself the way I am, yet still I want to grow. When I heard that for the first time, it was in the early 80s, it was like a lightning bolt. I had always thought I have to be perfect to love myself. The concept of I can love me, flaws and all. It was like some alien had landed on this planet and was going, and I was suddenly able to make sense. It's like, oh my goodness, I can love myself, yet still I want to grow. Much more encouraging than beating myself up for what I have not yet done. If guilt and shame were motivational, we would all be happier, healthier, and more successful. It doesn't work. What we say to ourselves determines what we do to ourselves. So logical, emotional, that's the LE, and physical. Physical is what we can do for our body. And of course, we know about exercise and sleeping well and eating well and all of that kind of stuff. We know about trying to be active to whatever level we can. When I was last here, I was waiting. So I had been diagnosed. I had taken, we're all about the same age group, so we're all going through this. At my last wellness checkup, which was in February with my doctor made me take a colonoscopy. I mean, not a colonoscopy, a Cologuard test. Go in the other room, take a colonoscopy. See me in the morning. But no, she said that she wanted me to take one of these Cologuard tests. And I don't know if anybody else has ever taken them. So let me just, I see a lot of heads nodding. So let me just basically sum it up for you a little bit about what it is. It's a test that's designed to look for colon cancer. And instead of and by the way, regarding colon cancer, as I have learned over the last couple of months, colon cancer is the second largest cancer killer, I guess you would call it, in the United States, but it's the third most common diagnosed. So I should stop and think about how powerful it is. Lung cancer is number 1. Breast cancer is number 2. Colorectal cancer is number 3 in terms of the number of diagnoses. Number of deaths, lung cancer is number 1. Colorectal cancer is number 2. So it's a very powerful cancer. So of course, there's a concerted effort to watch that. So as part of my regular checkup, I was given a Cologuard test. And if you aren't familiar with it, it's a less invasive alternative to colonoscopy. So instead of spending a day drowning in clear fluids and sports drinks, mountains of Jell-O, why they ever created Jell-O is a mystery to me. You end up drinking enough industrial strength laxatives to clean out your entire sewer system. My entire county could be cleaned out with the amount they drink. And then, how do I say this delicately? You do your business in a box. It's a special box. It's designed for this. You don't just get a box from Amazon. That would be inappropriate. And then you put the box in the mail and it goes to wherever it goes. And they do whatever they do. I do have just this funny image of the people in the receiving department for Cologuard. I mean, what a job, you know. I guess that quite literally is the same stuff, different day. Oh, here it goes again. But anyway, you ship it away and then you get a result. And they send you an email, and they send you a text, and they notify you a whole lot. And in the topsy-turvy world of medicine, a negative result is what you want. You don't want a positive. So for me, being me, the only test result that I would want would be like a bright red A+ with great job written on it, but that's not what I got. I got back a positive. So I am one of those people who can, if I let myself get into a panic over a bruise on my arm, it's like, oh my God, how did I get that? What is happening to me? So of course, to get a positive kind of freaked me out. And my doctor said, well, the next step is going to be a colonoscopy. I live in a rural area. It takes a while to get these things done. We have a shortage of doctors and what have you. So for 90 days, which is how long it took me to get scheduled, I waited. And anything that triggered, you know, they tell you watch for changes in bathroom habits and all this stuff. Get a little personal here, but nonetheless, we're all friends. So, you know, if my stomach gurgled, I was like, oh my God, I have colon cancer. You know, if I belched, oh my God, it's colon cancer. Everything led me to that. You know, it's just anything that happened. And so I was really, really nervous about it. let me first of all tell you that if you ever take a Cologuard test, what I learned is when they get the results, it's not about cancer, it's about whether they've noticed any blood. And you can get blood in your system through all sorts of ways. If you eat red meat, you can get blood in your system. So it's just basically designed to blood. I wish they would have told me that 90 days ago, but they didn't. So I go in and I do the test. So my procedure was scheduled, this is all about self-care, believe me, it'll get there. My procedure was scheduled for Tuesday morning at 6 in the morning. And the way I usually work is on Sundays I shave because I go to the center. And then on Mondays I get a little bit rugged. And then on Tuesdays I shave. And on Wednesdays I'm a little rugged. And on Thursdays I shave. And this is just my way of doing it. But I knew I was going to be at the doctor on Tuesday morning really early. And I thought, well, I can't go in unshaven. So I decided to shave on Monday. Now I want you to get this image. I'm going to be going in for a medical procedure where everything is going to be exposed to God and creation. They will not be looking at my face. That's not the part of me they're going to be looking at. Yet my first concern is, will I be shaved? Will I look good? It's a very funny form of self-care. You know, I have this vision of the doctor and nurses, and you know, you're put under, so you don't know what's going on. But I have a vision of the doctors and nurses all kind of staring, doing what they do, you know, looking at that part of me, and going, hey, everything's all clear. You know, what do you think? And the nurse goes, yeah, but he didn't shave. But this too is a form of self-care. By the way, the test came back negative. So I'm fine. Talk about living life a lot lighter. I just got this result back about 2 weeks ago. And what a change it has made. It's like I'm floating about 10 feet off the ground now. But that's a form of self-care, not only the colonoscopy, of course, not only the Cologuard, not only your regular treatment, but just deciding to wake up and well, I imagine most of the women aren't concerned about shaving here. Maybe a few of you are, but at least feeling good about how you look, taking some pride in the way we look. That too is a form of self-care. You know, maybe putting on makeup when you don't normally feel like it. Maybe putting on something a little nicer that you normally wouldn't wear. Because you say, well, I'm just around the house. Nobody's going to see it. And I work out of my home and I cover everything with sweaters. But nonetheless, underneath this sweater, I have a nice shirt because I feel better about it. So how do you take care of yourself physically? What is one more thing that you could do to feel better? Physically, how can you feel better about yourself? And then the S, so we got logical, emotional, physical, and the S is spiritual. So the spiritual is obviously relating to our spirit. Spiritual is a belief. It's how we believe. And again, as I think about these things, I came up with different layers, different levels of belief. And I'm just going to run them by you real quickly. I won't spend a whole lot of time. But belief at its most simple level, when you're first able to even be aware that you exist, I believe that the first level of belief is awe. It's just a acceptance of magnificence. Everything is magnificent when you live in awe. There is nothing that is not. You know, a small child lives in awe. And once they start to develop cognitive skills, they move up to the next level, which is wonder. What if I could do something with this magnificent world in which I live? What if I have more power than I thought I did? We just redecorated our house. Or our kitchen, and we got a plaque that we found at the center's, what we call Twice Nice Sale. It's our big fundraiser. And it says, think about what could go right. What if today is going to be better than you thought it was going to be? That's a low level of belief. And then what happens is if we focus on that long enough, we move into a state of hope. So wonder moves to hope. Like, I hope it will be better. It's no longer just what if, like a theoretical question. It's now, I hope it would be better. I'm putting some energy into it now. And as we hope, we move into optimism, which is the next level. So hope is kind of neutral. Optimism is assuming it's going to get better. I hope it's going to be a great day. I think it's going to be a great day. Just that slight shift makes such a tremendous difference within your spiritual base. And as we become more optimistic, and this is not linear, this is 3 steps forward, 2 steps backward, 1 step forward, 6 steps backwards, 10 steps forward. I mean, this is what we're going through all the time. So we go from awe to wonder to hope to optimism to belief. That's the next level. And it's not the highest level. So belief is when we not only, it's not optimistic that it is, but we are pretty sure that's the way it's going to go. And now we start to look for proof. Optimism is a little more passive. Belief is, I think it's going to get better. Oh, look, it did get better. There it is. There's proof. Those signs that we see. You know, we joke within practitioner training, and maybe you guys have the same thing about, manifesting a parking space. That's like a really low level of using the law of mind. It's like, oh, I've got to go somewhere. Oh, there's going to be a parking space. Oh, look, there's a parking space. That's belief. I've now validated, so it helps. The next level up goes to trust. Now it's more locked into me. I know there's a parking space. I still got to see it, but I know it's there. I trust that things are going to be better. You can see it's more emphatic than belief. And the highest level of belief is knowing. It's not always easy to get to knowing, but it is the highest level of belief. I don't need any proof of it. I don't need to see it. I just know it's there. I know. So what levels of belief, how can you move from one level of belief to the next? Maybe you know about your belief in a divine spirit or in God, but you're optimistic about how well it will work for you, or you're optimistic about your health. What could you do to believe that you're healthy? What could you do? We look around in the world and we say, well, God is at work in all things, but I mean, you're kind of disguising it pretty well when I look at the state of the world. So what can I do about knowing that this is all just part of a bigger picture? How can I move? What can I do to raise my level of spiritual health? Sometimes raising our level of spiritual health involves being kind of adult. So the other lesson that I've learned over the last couple of weeks, because I had the colonoscopy thing and the scare, as I say, the universe sends you what you need. So while I'm waiting to get the colonoscopy, I'm going about my life, trying to keep that on the back burner, trying to be optimistic, periodically actually getting to belief. Wasn't quite able to get to trust a lot, but I worked on it, and it apparently turned out okay. So I'm walking through one of the shopping centers, and I see on one of the telephone poles, which is where all the best advertising is placed, I see on one of the telephone poles a poster. And the poster is for end-of-life planning. And I'm 68, I'll be 69 in September. Now, I know there are some of you who are older than me, but as I've said before, this is the oldest I've ever been, so you'll have to excuse me because that's my freak out level. I saw somebody post on Facebook today. What did she say? Today, I break my own personal record for most days alive. What a delightful attitude. So anyway, I'm starting to do my adulting. Adulting is those things you have to do. You get tired of adulting, but you got to do your adulting because that's part of taking care of yourself. And so I see this poster and it's end-of-life planning. Now, we can't keep end-of-life in the forefront. We just can't. Because if you were always focusing on your end of life, you wouldn't get anything done. Because you would say, oh, I've got to clean my house. Oh, why bother? I'll be dead anyway. I got to take a shower. Oh, why bother? I'll be dead anyway. We just can't live like that. So we have to have a certain veil of denial, but we also have to be adult enough to realize it's either us or the people who are left behind who are going to take care of everything. Each of us will either mourn or we will be mourned. There is no in between. And I don't want my family to have to deal with that, because I'm assuming that when I pass, they will be upset. Maybe they won't. He's finally gone. Great. We can now get on to living our lives. But assuming that, I decided to be an adult, and I decided, all right, I'll go to the seminar. And I learned about end of life. And maybe some of you have been through this, okay? And what I did learn is there was, ironically, a very young man who was leading the seminar, which kind of didn't fit within my beliefs, but nonetheless, he was very nice. And I set up an appointment, and I went to the local funeral home, and we talked about it, and I decided I will be cremated. I don't wish to be buried. As a matter of fact, they have these urns now that they can put you in, and then they put a tree inside it, a sapling. And then when the urn, you can plant the urn and the tree grows from you. And I thought, what a lovely thing to leave a legacy of shade and a place for birds. You know, so that will be my final resting place. You're all welcome to come see it. Of course, I won't be able to tell you where it is, so you'll have to find that out from somebody else. And I, as part of my practitioner training, had to plan my own memorial. So I'm kind of all laid out, so my family is all ready to go. But it was heavy stuff. It was really heavy stuff to deal with. So as I finished doing all of this, and I walked out on the street, and there is, on my front lawn, there was a little bird. I thought it was a sparrow, but I looked it up. And what are they actually called for you who are birders? They're called Eurasian skylarks. They're little small brown, tan, and white birds with yellow beaks, and they got stripes on their head. And usually I'm just like too busy to pay any attention to that. Oh, it's a bird, you know, big deal. You see them on telephone wires all the time. But for whatever reason, I stopped. And I looked at the bird. And I stood really, really still because I didn't want him to fly away. And he's busy pecking away at the grass, getting whatever birds get when they get in the grass, you know, just having a grand old time. And I stare at him for a second. I realize he's totally in the now. He's not concerned about what urn he's going to have or where his final resting place will be. I mean, I'm assuming he's not. Maybe he just came from some end-of-life seminar at a nest somewhere, but I don't think so. He's just centered, and he's happy, and he's doing what he does. And the weird thing was, or maybe the wonderful thing was, he stops for a second and he looks at me. He does one of these things, you know, tilts his head, kind of stares at me for a second, and goes, chirp, chirp, bounces and flies away off to the telephone pole. You know, it changed my whole spirit, because I, for a minute, focused on what was happening in front of me. I was able to find the joy in something so small as a Eurasian skylark picking at grass on my front lawn. That is self-care. That's the type of adulting we need to do a little bit more often. So in closing, I would like to quote from you, or quote for you. I would like to first of all do two things. The form that is downloadable or will be sent out in the email, like I said, there are 101 ways to take better care of yourself. I'll just randomly pick a few. And these were taken from a lot of people I asked on my Facebook group, you know, which is Intentions, Affirmations, and Manifestations. Go outside and touch the earth. Thank it for giving all it does. What a great idea for self-care. Let's see here. Walk down the street and smile at as many people as you can. Might make them wonder what you're up to, but it'll be a fun thing to do. Sit down and take 5 deep breaths. And do it again. Bake some cookies. Organize your closet. Learn how to use a new app. Stargaze. Lie in the grass and look at the clouds and picture the images like you did as a child. All of these things are ways to take care of yourself. And then list what you're grateful for about your body. Be generous. Say, I love you to the person in the mirror, and mean it. Various ways to take care of yourself. So in closing, from Emma Curtis Hopkins, this is from the book Scientific Christian Mental Practice. Written a long time ago. The writing is a little weird. The concept will come across. The love of strength, the love of health, the love of security, the love of skill, the love of harmony, all abide within you. When you see health or strength or prosperity, or you see power of any kind, and you do not whine or carp or complain that you don't have it, then you are fed instantly. And soon that is all you will see. Also, you will see more. It is the beauty of health that if you see it, it increases your sight. It exists. It is all around you. It is within you. It is you. All you need to do is accept it, embrace it, and enjoy it. And with that, we will go into a treatment. So I'd like you to get a little centered, relax your body, feel good about how you feel, and realize there is only one energy, one force, one power within this universe. As a matter of fact, it is this universe. It is everything. There is no spot where God is not, as they say. It does not stop at the barrier of us. We are like drops within an ocean. We are sparks within a flame. We are wind gusts within a storm of power. We are that incredible. We are the universe. And as I accept that, and as I know that, and as I know that anything that I say is indeed required to come true, it is because it is a part of me. It is my thought, and these thoughts have power and they create. I put within myself and out to the universe, and I speak for all of us, I put thoughts of good health mentally and physically and emotionally and spiritually. I embrace the good that I see. I know it is all around, even when I am not looking for it, and all I need to do is open my heart and let it in, and it fills me and beyond. And for that, I am beyond grateful. I am filled with joy because I know that that is my natural state. And I release these laws, I release these words into the law of mind, knowing that they've been happening since long before I said them, and they will happen long after I release them. And for that too, I am grateful that I say, and so it is. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Scott. I feel more inspired and more activated to do the self-care gifting to ourselves. Wow. So with that, it's a wonderful transition about taking care of ourselves financially too, to go to our prosperity affirmation. If you would like to listen to it first and then say it together, we can do that. So our June prosperity affirmation is letting go of everything that no longer serves me. I am open, receptive, and available to live the life of God. So if you like to take your hands and just put them up in the air with me, and let's say it together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I let go of everything that no longer serves me. I am open, receptive, and available to live the life of God. And so we thank you so much for sharing your time, talents, and prosperity with our center as we continue to thrive as a community. If you'll please see the ways to give to our wonderful center in the chat, snail mail or online, and pass the blessing of the gifts to Pat in that beautiful basket.
Thank you, Tammy. One God, one life, one supply. Thank you for being the light from within that halos our time, talents, and treasures and causes us to understand that the flow of all three from us is the exact same flow that circles back to us multiplied. We are grateful to be blessed in such ways as a center and individually, blessing the gift and the giver, and our center that is the blessed receiver. With great gratitude, I lift these words of appreciation into the law that only says yes, and I release them there to become evident. And so it is.
And now we have some wonderful announcements, some invitations to you. This Thursday is the men's group. I know Harry, my husband, very much enjoys that. So you're very welcome to come and join the guys and just have a wonderful discussion. That's Thursday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And it's exciting to announce, yay, our very own Vicki Jeter is going to talk next week about embracing self-care, the aspect of pleasure. You're very welcome to please stay with us and have some sharing time, share about what Scott talked about or whatever's on your mind. Oh, such a beautiful, beautiful visual there. So if you're on the count of 3, if you'll say this to yourself and to each other. 1, 2, 3. You are magnificent.
Yes, you are magnificent. And don't forget that ever. Closing song is Look for the Positive Aspects by Francine Jari.
Positive aspects in every situation. Look for the positive aspects. Change your focus of attention. Choosing and feeling and choosing thoughts that serve you best. So look for the positive aspects. Look for the positive aspects and disregard the rest. Look for the positive aspects. Let contrast be your guide. Look for the positive aspects. The universe is on your side. Choosing and feeling and choosing thoughts that serve you best. Positive aspects, look for the positive aspects and disregard the rest. Looking for the positive aspects in every situation. Look for the positive aspects. Change your focus of attention. Choosing and feeling and choosing thoughts that serve you best. So look for the positive aspects. Look for positive aspects. Look for the positive aspects and disregard the rest. Look for positive aspects. Look for positive aspects. Look for positive aspects. They're everywhere you go. Look for positive aspects. Look for positive aspects. Look for positive aspects. They're everywhere you know. Look for positive aspects. Look for positive aspects. Look for positive aspects. They're everywhere you go.
Closing this service with a prayer, and again with familiar words from a time gone by. For the collective, I end this gathering as we began by saying thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for the lessons learned here today, lessons that we can expound upon to polish our processes of self-care by changing our thinking in order to change the condition of our lives for the better, for the future. Thank you for Scott's words that remind us to embrace the body, mind, and soul's need for self-care, even during trying times. We are so fortunate to have this day, our yesterday, and all our tomorrows, and we are equally blessed by our interconnectedness and for knowing the truth of our blessings and where they come from. And on these and multiple other gratitudes, and from the place of knowing and remembering that our origin is pure joy, we align with who we really are, knowing whose we are. And we lift these words into a law that always says yes, automatically and impartially. And we release them there. And so it is. Amen.